Now, why would you believe a guy with a history replete with lies, dishonesty, and contradictions? We'll find out Tuesday when disgraced former FBI Director James Comey's book, A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership, hits the stands. Truth, lies, and leadership? Really? Talk about an oxymoron, Jim. You're the ultimate liar. You lied on multiple occasions to multiple people, including Congress under oath, and that's a crime. Truth? You refused to follow the law, causing both Republicans and Democrats to call for your head. And leadership? You violated the rules of your own agency by leaking classified information to a friend to leak to the New York Times. You went along with Loretta Lynch's false narrative that Hillary's case was a matter, not an investigation. And folks, get ready for a knife fight between Jim Comey and Loretta Lynch on both that as well as that tarmac charade. Jim, you've repeatedly proven your inability to run the FBI in a non-political way. You stayed silent as the New York Times retracted the story that Hillary's FBI review was a security referral and not a criminal referral. As if the FBI is a security company installing locks in peepholes. You say the president is unethical, while you turned a well-respected agency into a haven of organized criminal conspirators at the top echelon. Your book, Jim, isn't about leadership. It's about butt-kissing. Like when you were struck by the way Barack Obama could see and evaluate a variety of angles and complicated issues, his insight and ability to connect with an audience. Yeah, right, Jim. Barack's really bright. Like when he bragged about traveling to all 57 states. The guy's running for president and he thinks there are 57 states. And the person you most admired in government? James Clapper, another outrageous liar who swore under oath before Congress that the NSA doesn't surveil Americans, then, in an obvious display of lying, shifts his eyes and his body and says, well, not wittingly. Jim, your book is as petty, unprofessional, and illegitimate as a Stormy Daniels resume reel. Now, you actually talk about the size of the president's hands, whether he used tanning goggles in a tanning booth, and whether his hair is real. FBI agents, Jim, behind your back, called you Cardinal Comey. But, Jim, you're not holier than thou. You're nothing more than a political operative orchestrating your own effort to make yourself the center of America's moral compass. Beginning with your two-step, the one that you and your friend Bob Mueller, then FBI director, who at your request brought in the FBI agents to make sure the Secret Service didn't block your dramatic entrance at John Ashcroft's hospital bedside, claiming that you were willing to resign if the Attorney General didn't follow your suggestion. But enough about you. Let's read the book's excerpts. Now, you claim the president, sitting at his desk in the Oval Office, was a king sitting on a throne. A king because there was a block of wood between you and the president. Hey, Jim, did you ever appear before a judge? Jim, you say the president was concerned when you presented him with your fake dossier, alleging the president had prostitutes peeing on him in Moscow, and then you tear Melania down.
How could your wife think there's a 1% chance you were with prostitutes peeing on each other in Moscow? I'm a flawed human being, but there's literally zero chance that my wife would think that was true.
I'm happy for you, Jim, that your wife, Patrice, would never think that of you. But then again, Jim, Patrice was never actually presented with a fake dossier by the director of the FBI, who parenthetically knew it wasn't true. And the president didn't just bring it up in conversation. You're the one who went to talk to the president to inform him of what you knew at the time was not verified. The whole thing was a charade. And when you were asked by Stephanopoulos...
But did he have a right to know that?
That had been financed by his political opponents? I don't know the answer to that.
You don't know the answer? And of course, just to hit the president a little more and to get a great headline, you say this.
But I don't know whether the current president of the United States was with prostitutes peeing on each other in Moscow in 2013. It's possible, but I don't know.
Jim, it's possible. And it's possible Martians were in that room peeing on the prostitutes, too. Maybe we should start a new investigation. Are Martians colluding with the prostitutes to make the president look bad? And when you ridicule the president, asking you whether he looked like a guy who needed hookers, your answer?
Sir, I'm not saying that we credit this. I'm not saying we believe it.
But, Jim, you don't credit it? You don't believe it? Jim, you're a liar. This is the dossier that you presented to a FISA court judge, and you admit you told the president you couldn't credit it when you said you couldn't believe it, and yet you seek a warrant from a judge based on this fake dossier. Were you lying before the judge, or were you lying in the book? And while we're at it, Jim, your explanation for announcing Hillary's renewed investigation? You claim it was because you told Congress that if new information were to come to light, you would tell them. Jim, you could have told them without a televised press conference. You could have called two men into a room with you and told them. And, Jim, I thought politics didn't enter any of your decisions. And yet you have the chutzpah to claim that none of your decisions were based on politics. But from your own book, you say, quote, when I thought she was going to win, meaning Hillary, I didn't want a tainted president. But you know what, Jim? Neither claim is true. Everyone in law enforcement knows that you reopened the Hillary Clinton case because the NYPD and the New York FBI field office were going to out you for protecting her yet again by not reopening the case. Anyway, the ultimate proof that you didn't want to indict her is not only the exoneration memo you wrote 6 weeks and 17 witnesses before she was interviewed, but knowing that she had classified information on her emails, which you swore under oath was true, not asking her this question. Hillary, did you have classified information on your emails? If she said yes, that's a crime. If she said no, she lied, and that's a crime. And by the way, we'll talk for a minute about your career at the FBI. How many cases did you screw up? The Boston bombers, the Fort Hood massacre, the Orlando Pulse nightclub shooting, the San Bernardino massacre, the attacks of 9/11. You were involved in all of them. Come on, Jim. Your self-serving statements about a crying Chuck Schumer thanking you for your Hillary decision, and you on the verge of tears after Obama told you how great you are. Come on. Your self-absorbed memoirs all about you. You're a pompous, egotistical, patronizing, condescending, holier-than-thou political operative trying to redeem your reputation and cash in on lies, which is the opposite of truth and leadership. Your book is about a higher loyalty to none other than you yourself. And that's my open.